Now, in the academic world, there is this distinction between management and leadership, and management is about the organization of things, the structuring of things, and leadership is about followership, and it's a more inspirational process. But that inspirational process has with it a kind of ethical core. And the research would suggest that doing EDI without ethics doesn't work. So you need both. So I think you need leaders who understand the ethical importance of EDI to their leadership practice. Now, you might think that's a bit of a weird demand, but I'll take you back to a teaching session that I undertook at McGill University when I was over there on a visiting fellowship in Canada. And I was asked to teach the MBA students to do their session on EDI and leadership. And they said, good luck, they never listen. So I thought, well, I think they will if you start the right way. Now, the man of the moment for me at that time was Amartya Sen. Now, Amartya Sen is a Nobel Prize winner who developed his thinking during the partition in India. That's where the trigger was. And he argued that everybody really wants their children to have a better life than they did. It doesn't matter, which country it's in, what race they are, what faith they are. They want their children to have a better life than they do, even if you're wealthy. You want, as a woman, your daughters to be able to work and be professionals and so on, if that simply wasn't possible. So he said, everybody wants well-being in the traditional sense, the historic classical sense of a life well lived. And they want to be able to give voice to that and value it. And good leadership in this sense, in the sense of this capabilities theory that he developed, was about enabling others to be the best they could be and to empower them to do that in ways that meant you were not just giving them stuff, but they were, if you like, turbocharged to be the best that they could be. They had the best education, best protections under law, best opportunities in the labor market, and so on. And you know what? These cynical MBA students all got it. So I don't think it's about how you position the requirements. And it doesn't matter whether you're a spreadsheet, geek, or you want to lead from the front, or you need a range of leadership styles. The most important thing is they all have this ethical core and this focus on behaving decently. And that ethical core has to be embedded in how individuals are assessed and the governance structures. The final thing I would want to say is there's a brilliant piece of work that was done by James Billane. He's Irish, he's at Northeastern University in America, in the USA, but he was looking at sync schools. So why is it that some schools could be turned around by head teachers and others couldn't? And he said the problem with leadership is there was too much of a focus on style and leadership characteristics. Leadership for him was a practice. It was what actually people did. That was the first thing, and that was a real insight. What is it that people actually do that change the lives of others? The teachers, the students, their parents. The second thing he said was that leadership is distributed. And what I learned from Birmingham is that many of the problems of leadership are different depending on which level of the organization you focus on. So many of those in the middle were worried about the very well qualified and very articulate Black and Asian graduates jumping over them, so they blocked their paths. And those at the top got to the top without having to worry about people who were of color. So it's not the same, So even if this, so I don't think the issue of leadership style is helpful. I think styles work. There are lots of different styles. I've had people who are really, they're detailed people, and other people who don't care about detail, and other people who want to lead from the front, and other people who want to lead more collectively. And they've all done a brilliant job in terms of advancing the work of Black people in their organizations. So I think the style issue is a bit misleading. I think it's about moral commitment. It's seeing that leading in this moral way is, as the ancient Greeks would, or in an Aristotelian way, would see as a virtue. It's what it is to be a decent leader, not to ignore things that are awkward. You engage with them and you address them. So I think style doesn't matter. I think it's about your ethical purpose, your governance structure, and your willingness to look at the leadership structure of your organization from the supervisor level to the top, and identify what's wrong from a moral and charismatic element at all those levels, because there'll be different demands at each of those levels.
I would just say the sort of style that is needed in a time like this is an inclusive one, a flexible one, and an adaptable one that would recognize the needs, the demands, and listen and what people are really wanting, and be willing to adapt accordingly to put the right structure in place. And like you rightly said in your distinction between being a manager and a leader is directing and being inspirational in terms of people look up to, a role model that people are looking up to and following. And I think that's also key in terms of being, we talk about styles, and a known style is transformational, and that sort of leader will make that change because they would not be satisfied with what's the status quo, what's currently happened. They'll make a change. So I think in terms of style, yes, one can't really box it up into any particular style, but it's going to be a combination of different styles, from being transformational to being a flexible leader, to being an inclusive leader, and also being a leader that is willing to inspire the rest of the organization and move them forward.
Well, look, I just say here to, again, what both our speakers have said. I do think it is a quality, though, to be an ethical leader in the way that's been described. And I don't think there's enough of it about. I don't think that quality is manifest enough. And I don't think ethical, moral, decent leadership it is as prominent as it could be and should be, and I don't think it's given as much value. So I think a way forward from this is to try and value that more, and for us, if I might say it, at City and Guilds, to really challenge ourselves to do that. It's not just about having a set of values and having a social and moral purpose, which actually we do have as an organisation, but it is about testing that out in terms of every decision that is taken in every way in the organisation. It's not a question just of style. It's about a question, as Nelarine said, of what you fundamentally stand for and how you find a way of ensuring that all of you who are responsible want those same decent things, that life that you said, Amartya Sen quite rightly drew attention to. And actually, if in your organisation culturally you don't get that shared set of values around a board table, so I'm talking about governance leadership here, then you can't move forward. And if I have a trustee going forward, this is now, and I take up the chair next week after next, I can tell you I will appropriately be having that difficult conversation with them if their values are not in tune and their behaviour does not reflect the values that we say we espouse, because you cannot lead effectively unless you do have that sense of shared purpose and value.